This moment of clarity, this time to just separate a little bit, allows you that peace to say, okay, now my wish list is this long, my must-have list is this long, my want list is this long. Where am I going to end up? And how do I get from here to there? Now that you've taken some time to write down what's important to you, what's critical, what's just a want, then go through your offer letter and look for those things. So we're not just talking about salary, but salary is definitely one of those. It could be time off. It could be other benefits. It could be other learning opportunities. It could be the opportunity to have some of your higher education paid for. It might be for ability to work remotely certain periods of the time. It may be for how much flex time you have, or how you work with other departments, or it might even be a little bit about your title. So no matter what it is, when you have your list about what's important to you, and you compare it to what's in the offer letter, then you have your difference. Like, okay, these 5 things are really important to me, and they're all in the offer letter exactly how I want them. Great. Here's something that's a want, but it's not make it or break it. And I have one of those things that's kind of close. Well, so maybe there's an opportunity there. And here's one thing that's an absolute must on my list, and it's absolutely missing from here. So now you know. So in this third element where you're writing it down, you want to make sure that you're very clear and you organize your list before you respond in terms of what's absolutely critical, what is very important, what's a want, and what you're willing to live without. So the fourth element of this is how you pull it all together. And how you pull it together comes down to that fear that most people fear of, what if I screw this up and then they don't want to hire me? Okay, well, again, when you're respectful, it usually is not a problem. If you come in demanding, or you're aggressive, or you seem like, I'm going to show you exactly what I need, yep, I'm probably going to make some assumptions about you that are not going to help you. But there are ways to handle this really well. And I always suggest that the first communication comes with a phone call. And the phone call would come something like this. John, thank you so much for the call yesterday and a follow-up with the offer letter. I am so honored, like I told you. I have been so impressed with everything about this company, and I am so excited to be a part of this team. So I took some time to review the offer letter, and I have a few points that I'd like to discuss with you to see if there's some negotiation room. Which would you prefer, John? Would you prefer that I go through them right now with you one by one and then follow up with an email for you to consider and get back to me on? Or would you prefer that I send you an email first so you can review and we have a call? Now, what have I done there? First of all, by calling, I am showing great respect. That means you called to offer me the job. I'm calling to tell you I want the job, but I also want to discuss some things. Now, the second way I'm respecting you is I'm saying, I have a few things. Which would you prefer? And by asking that person to ask John, would you prefer that I give them to you right now verbally and then follow up, which means what you're saying with that is, I don't expect you to answer me on all these things during our phone call. I'm just asking if you'd like to hear them from me verbally first before giving you an email for you to review and think. So you're not putting John on the spot. You're allowing John to have that time to breathe and reflect and make decisions. Or you're giving him the choice, would you prefer, if I wrote it out for you first, you reflect and then you get back to me. This puts John back in the driver's seat. So now he doesn't have a moment of panic where he's like, oh no, we love Michael. What if we lose her because of things that I can't give her on her list? I want to see it first so I at least know what's happening. Or John might say, oh my gosh, I don't know what she's going to say, but I sure want to hear it from her right now, because if there's something I need to fix, I need to do it. Because at the time that people have made a job offer to you, they want you. They are ready for you. They want you to come be a part of their team. And so there's nervousness on the hiring manager too of, what if I screw this up? Michael's the best person that we could have ever hired for that. What if we didn't offer her something else or something good enough? I better know now. So by making that phone call and being clear that you are so thankful and grateful, that you've enjoyed every part of the process, that you're so excited to be a part of the team, so honored for that, you can't wait to join them, but that you have a few things that you'd like to discuss, you're setting clear expectations, and you're doing so without any aggressiveness or with anything that's going to put you or your job in harm's way. The key is, can you have that confidence to do it? How do you get there? You have to practice it. It's important to practice that conversation before you call John back. It's important to take the time to write them out and circle. Absolutely critical. Very, very important. Pretty important, I'd like it. This I'd be really sugar and icing on top. And when you know that and you practice that, practice with someone you trust. They will help you to say, hey, that sounded great, or hey, you sounded a little aggressive, or you sounded nervous. But think back to my whole initial story about the percentage of sales leaders and sales managers that I've hired over the years who have failed at this test that they didn't even know they were taking. But why didn't they know they were taking it? I mean, after all, I was hiring them for a sales position. So I've given you the tools to make this happen. Here's your assignment. Before you get to that point, even if you're not even considering looking for a new job right now, or maybe you're looking to move up in your own company or negotiate something that's, a cross promotion for you within your organization, take some time right now and be very, very clear. What things are absolutely critical to you? What things are, they're important, well, very important that you really want. Things that are, they're somewhat important. And things that you're like, if I get that, I really am getting what I want and more. So obviously this includes salary, but salary is only one thing. There could also be benefits, bonuses, commissions, time off, flexible time, opportunity to work from home, opportunity to have continuing education. Heck, you might even negotiate a better office chair for your home office or a second monitor for when you may be working somewhere else. All those things that are important to you, writing them out now will help you to be clear before you're at the moment of panic. So I want to leave you with one last little story. This is probably my favorite all-around story about me. I got a call from a recruiter many years ago about a job, and I wasn't looking for a job. This job just came out of the blue. I was very happy in my job. I had a great job. And they called and said, would you be interested in this? Now, I'm always one of those crazy people that would say, well, tell me more. I want to know about it. Oh, wait, maybe that's why I wrote my book called Tell Me More. But I wanted to ask that question always because you never knew there might be something better. So after they told me about this job, I said, that's really interesting. I think this could be a really great position for me. It definitely takes a lot of my background. It merges things together and it could be really unique. I'll tell you what, I'll take an interview. So I went through several interviews, and every interview I was more and more excited and interested in the opportunity. So when it came down to the job offer, it was very, very interesting to me because they knew what I made. They knew what my structure was. They knew about my benefits and my bonus plans and all those things from where I was. And they offered me a job that was almost exactly that. And frankly, it wasn't any better. And I had to take that moment where I sat back and thought, am I going to be offended by this? Or am I going to do something about this? I didn't need to change a job. I'd gotten very interested in that company. I was intrigued enough. But I thought, this is a challenge. This is a test for me. I didn't think about them testing me. I thought about my test for myself. And I really sat back and said, okay, well, if I'm going to take this, it's going to be everything I want. Now, of the things they offered me, there were elements that because of the job were actually going to be better than the job that I had already. So there were things that I was definitely willing to negotiate on. But I figured, what's the harm in this? So when I got all done with my process, and I used the same exact process, I had 6 things on my list that I decided I was going to go in and I was going to be strong on. And of those 6, there was only one thing I wanted. One. One. If I got that one thing, I would have taken the job. They gave me 5 of the 6. And the only reason I didn't get the 6th was because the element that I asked for had to do with my 401k plan. See, the company I'd come from, I was contributing into my 401k, and moving to this company, I would have to give up my 401k for 1 full year. But they couldn't do that differently for me because that was in their corporate bylaws. If they could have, they would have. I asked for 6 things, wanting 1. I got 5 of the 6. In the end, I realized, people always talk about disparity in a lot of different ways with how people are compensated. And I look back at my own career and I realize that I have always earned at a very high level because I asked for it. Not obnoxiously, not with attitude, not because I felt I was owed it, but because I knew I deserved it. Because I knew the value that I brought. I knew the worth that I had. And I knew what my background meant to each new company that I came from. And frankly, every job change I ever made, except for one, was because somebody else called me and said, "We want you." When you negotiate for yourself, knowing your worth and knowing your value will help you make decisions in a way that can be absolutely respectful, that shows who you are, that shows how much you value and see the worth in yourself, but that will get you much more than you ever thought possible. Just take the time to make sure you know how to negotiate for yourself. Thank you for joining again today. And as always, share your questions, your comments, your feedback to sypapp@shockyourpotential.com.